Hey y'all, this is Gaming Granny coming at you. Before we get started, let me get all my fun stuff out of the way. Trigger warning. This is a first-person shooter video game, which includes war and shooting and guns and bayonets and gross things. If that's gonna bother you, go out now. On your way out, though, you have several options. You can give me a thumbs up and just head on out the door. No hard feelings. You can go check some of my older videos. I have some that are PG levels. Or you could stick around and see if you like what I do here. Okay, disclaimer. This video is for entertainment purposes only. Anything I say on this video is my opinion. Don't take my word for it. Go look into it yourself. Alright. Now, this is the third game in our World War I set. This is Isonzo, the Italian front. So, we are on this side of it, which is the German side, I believe. German-Austrian side. And we are fighting in the Alps in this one. And it's here in the Alps that we get to see some of the newer game dimensions, because as I mentioned, this is the last game of the set that was released, and it was just released in 2021 or 22. I want to say 22. Why don't I have any bullets? I'm sure there's some around. I just gotta find them, huh? So, this is a board where we are on the offensive. And we're trying to take whatever they have that we want. So, this front was not fought on quite as much as the West and the East. Some of it was the heights. You know, you were fighting up in the mountains most of the time, and it just, you know, wasn't great. I wish I would I need some. Well, I did get one bad guy. I had to stab him though, because I don't have any bullets. That's two that I've had to stab because I ain't got no bullets. Now, in this case, this board, as you can see, is in a village in the Alps. Alps, apparently, because it's here, I mean.
Rückzug!
So, and you can tell this is the one that came out most recent. And that's why it looks the way it does. And the boards are much like the ones for the other two games, but there are some minor differences because this one, you know, they're fighting up in the Alps. I don't, oh yeah, at some points I think they are up to where the Edelweiss and all that was. Now, to explain Edelweiss, if you're a history buff, you'll know what it is. But otherwise, maybe not. Edelweiss is a flower, and it only grows toward the tops of the Alps. So, the Germans had a thing for their guys going up there to get Edelweiss and put it in their uniform buttonhole. And it was said to be the mark of a great soldier. So if you saw somebody and they had Edelweiss in their buttonhole on their uniform, you knew that they had went up into the mountains and got that themselves. They even mentioned it in Band of Brothers, because when Blythe was having issues and he not too long before he got wounded, he came across a dead German soldier that had Edelweiss on him, and one of the, I think it was Nixon, I think it was Sergeant Nixon or Lieutenant Nixon at that point. I'm not going to swear to that though. But he told him, he said, well, that is Edelweiss, and it only grows in the very most upper reaches of the Alps. So if he's got that, he went up there and got it. And, you know, that is supposed to be the mark of a truly great soldier. So he took it out of the German's buttonhole and put it in his. And then I don't know if it's right after that that he got wounded, or if it was the next day or the next fight or whatever. But Blythe ended up with a shot to his head. And I have no idea if he recovered or not, because they really didn't get into that in the movie. I mean, the show. And I read all the books that Stephen Ambrose wrote on those guys. And I've read at least two of the books that were written by the their leader. Richard Dick Winters. Yeah. I was such a history buff, and it's rubbed off on my son quite well because he's one too. We watch a lot of documentaries. We like to talk about documentaries. They're, you know, we like war stories and such. Is he on our team or theirs? Oh, yeah, he's on ours. There's so many different colored uniforms on here, you just never know, you know? But yeah, that's the legend of Edelweiss. Edelweiss is a flower, a white flower, that grows in the Alps above the tree lines. So, now, like I said, I haven't been playing these long. I just got them for Christmas. They were a gift. So, and I really have 2 new monthly games that I got through my Sony PlayStation thing. So, I've got a lot of games right now sitting on my PlayStation waiting to be played. And that isn't always the case. But I also have a terabyte hooked up to it, and a terabyte, it's a box that's hooked to it for memory, and a terabyte is a great deal of memory, and the one I have is full of PlayStation games, from Grand Theft Autos to whatever else's, to World War I, to Bully, which was a game that came out for, I want to say, PlayStation 2 back in the day. You go to a boarding school.
Der Feind hat die Überhand! Zurück an die Front!
I need the bullets. Please. Bullets. Necesito bullets. I know that's not Italian. I don't know what I'm saying. I know it's Spanish, so. But I don't have... Alright, now see, this one's offensive, so we're supposed to be... Now you see what I'm saying about these uniforms, right? Because the one guy back there was definitely Italian once I started fighting him. But some of these guys are German. And their uniforms are very much like the Italian ones. So it's so hard to know which is which or who is where. And I need ammo, but I can't find any anywhere. So far I ain't found none anyways. Eventually what'll happen is somebody will kill me and then I'll have 5 shots again. I need to figure that part out of it, because I know you can put ammo boxes and stuff on the boards, see? We're putting ammo boxes everywhere we can. Maybe now we'll be able to find some if we need it. Which we will, because 5 shots ain't enough for crap. Especially the way this, that I shake a lot of times, and it throws my games off. I do want to apologize for this taking so long to do. I know I'm a week behind, and but I'm doing the best I can to get videos out every week, but it's just sometimes it's more daunting than others. So if you just bear with me and hang with me, we'll get there. I didn't do any shoutouts yet today, so now I'm gonna tell you, this guy just cracks me up, and most of it is just his accent, and I'm sorry to say that. I'm sorry if that offends anyone, but his channel is True TRU Red RED in capital letters. And yeah, so anyways, where were we? Oh, yeah, True TRU Red RED Crime. And if you watch him, he uses British slang, and he has a Pakistani or Bangladesh, that kind of area,
Stellung gesichert!
yeah, so,
müssen uns zurückziehen!
And you notice I'm playing offline like I've done with the others because it's just too...
Los, los, los! Attacke!
Maybe we are Italian. I don't know. Anyways, so True Red Crime. And go check him out. His use of British slang and his accent just get me every time. Alright. Let me think. Who else we watch some? We also watched 10 to Life with Annie Elise. And one more, these are all true crime. And one more true crime channel that I watch is, well, there's still several. Let's Discuss It. And she just recently got 100,000 viewers. So she has I think she has 1,000 subs. I mean, 100,000 subs at this point.
Wir müssen uns zurückziehen!
So, if you get a chance, stop by, check them out. If you're like me, you can watch that stuff for days and days on end. But some of it is so sad. And if any of these channels or any of my suggestions are going to harm your mental health, don't go. It's that simple. I'm not even mad. I want only the best, not just for my subscribers, but for everyone else's too. And trust me, mental health is a premium that we cannot afford to play around with. Well, daggone, that's where I was headed. I'll have to keep an eye on it and see if any of their people sneaks up on it. Yeah, I see somebody's trying to sneak up on it to diffuse it. Yeah, so those are some of the true crime ones that I watch when I'm watching them. But you know, they do have some ugly stories. And it seems like every generation is getting worse, not better. I mean, you know, back in my day, and this is going to date me, ain't it?
Los, los, los! Attacke!
Let's just say I know how some of these kids feel in these stories when they say that, the kid says something at school, but nobody believes him. Well, we need to start believing more because there's an epidemic right now of drug-addicted babies being murdered by their own parents. And I do want to say this just because this is my thought exactly. I'm pretty sure all y'all know who Andrea Yates is. She is a lady from Texas who, in her first trial, was found guilty of drowning, thus murdering her 5 children. We lost. But that's okay.
Die Schlacht ist verloren.
So, you have gotten to see how it goes. And if you would stay right there, another round of it would come up. Yeah. Okay, and back to what I was saying, though. Andrea Yates. In her first trial, she was put on death row, I think. Or she was in prison for life. I don't know for sure. Can't remember. But this is what gets me, okay? She had, I think, 4 little boys and a 6-month-old baby girl. And her husband had her homeschooling all of the children. So not only is she incubating a new baby every 1.5 years or every year, she also has to keep them at home to teach preschool and kindergarten and all that stuff. And for over 1 year, it was said they lived in a box. Yeah, how you would be pregnant and live in a camper with 4 little boys. I just don't. I don't see it. I don't understand why you would do it. It's just an awful thought. Now, after she had the 3rd or 4th boy, I want to say it happened at least twice before the little girl was born. And this is why I have such a problem with it. Because she, her and her husband were fundies. Now, if you don't know what a fundy is, it's a fundamentalist. Usually they're Baptists of some kind. There are a bunch of evangelicals that are part of it too. So,
Zeit, sich die Hände schmutzig zu machen. Schön am Nachladen.
That guy's shooting mortars. Oh, I see where it is, but Jiminy Christmas, that's a hike. Anyhow, so after she had a couple of these boys, I know at least with the last pregnancy of the youngest boy, she was in a very deep post what is it I'm looking for? That what is that? I know it's depression, but there's more to it than that. Because it has to do with babies. Postpartum depression. And she had it not so good because she had it bad enough that they put her inpatient for a little while. And I don't mean I am patient. I mean inpatient, as in she was locked up. I don't know why it's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. I need ammo badly too. And it says I'm supposed to be bandaging myself, but I don't see how. As you can tell, I'm very new at these, but let me get back to my point here. And she was inpatient for a long time, and she was seeing a shrink. And she told her husband that she didn't want to have any more babies. And the doctors had warned the couple against further pregnancies because they told her it would get worse each time. But her husband, being the patriarch he was, decided that they were going to have more children and it didn't matter. And if it took everything in the whole world to a hell in a handbasket, he didn't give a shit. Because he wanted her to have more babies. Now, granted, he wants her to have them, but he's not the one at home with her, I mean, day in and day out with these children. She is at home all day with all of them. None of them were allowed to go to school. As a matter of fact, she was supposed to be teaching them. Now, and she begged him and told him she did not want to have any more children. And she was on meds for a while and was seeing a shrink, and the shrink said, please don't have any more children because this is going to get bad. Okay, so here's my point. The husband knows that she's not supposed to be having any more children. But he pushes it and forces it until she does. And after the birth of the little girl, she was, again, psychotic. And And so one day, while he was on his way to work and her mother-in-law wasn't going to be there on time, she was going to be like an hour later or whatever.
Das gehört nun uns!
So she drowns all the babies and sends them to heaven because she thinks that she's not a good mom and that she she has the same thoughts and fears all of us do as moms, okay? But they're amplified because she's postpartum depression. Only it's really postpartum psychosis. So, they had a second trial later because one of the experts made a mistake in his testimony. And I'm sure if you want to know more about that, you can look it up. But here's what made me mad about it, okay? The husband knows everything and knows that she ain't supposed to be doing that. She ain't supposed to be having kids. She ain't supposed to be, whatever. And just absolutely harangues her till she does what he wants. But when it comes to being charged and sent to prison, to prison for the crime, they'll do nothing to him. Okay, but if he's the one deciding who has kids when in this family, regardless of her health, mental or otherwise, why isn't he just as culpable as she is? Make it make sense, y'all. The math ain't mathing. Why is she sitting in, and he's remarried and had more kids, just FYI. And he never had the punishment at all of anything. After she went to prison, he divorced her and started over and has a new family with a new wife. But my point is, he is just as guilty as she is for those 5 kids. Maybe more so, because he knew if she got pregnant, she had to quit taking her meds. And they were specifically told that any new pregnancy would likely end up with more with a worse depression every time. So, bearing that in mind, again, why is this man roaming around scot-free and she's stuck in a mental institution, probably for the rest of her life, for killing her babies? Because this man decided that he knew more than she did about what she should do with her body. So keep that in mind. And if you can tell me why that is, I would appreciate it, because I think that in situations like that, he's just as culpable as she is, because he had been told about her condition. And instead of thinking about it or anything else, he got mad that she wouldn't have more. Until she agreed to have another baby. Okay, that's just my little point on that deal. And I've always wanted to say it and never said it, so I guess y'all get to be the first ones to hear my thought on that. Alright, I'm going to get off here and let y'all get to what you're doing. And I will try to get another video ready for in the next couple days. I don't know what it's going to be on. Like I said, I've got two new monthly games to check out sometime. And then I've got a lot of titles back through there to look at. And next week I'll have 2 more monthly games. Because it'll be February. Alright. So that's where it's at. And I'm going to check this video. And if it's good, then that's great. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. And I hope you have a great week. Love y'all. And we'll see you the next time around. Laters.